Specimen Disaster. This is your host, Will Carey. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. It's part of the reason why I haven't posted an episode in a while. I'm recording this from my girlfriend's bedroom. I'll tell you real quickly what happened, just to let you know the next installment of my monthly show at the Creek in the Cave. You can use that. It's going to be the first Sunday in May. I believe it's May 7th at 9 p.m. It's a free show, and the Creek is in need of some additional financial support. So if you guys could come out, enjoy a great stand-up show, and buy some drinks and food, it would mean a lot to me, because I want this venue to stick around, and I appreciate it. Today on the show, we're going to have one of my oldest friends in stand-up, comedian Eric Frost. Eric and I know each other from Baltimore, which is where I started, and he's a guy that, and he mentions it in the interview, were it not for comedy, we probably would not have too much to ever say to each other. But comedy kind of brings us together, and he's a dude that has a very kind of unique way of looking at the world, and he doesn't suffer a lot of what's the best way to phrase it? He doesn't suffer. I'll just say he doesn't suffer fools. Whereas I might be a little bit more diplomatic. He's direct in a way that I wish that I had the ability to be sometimes. So, because it could get me around some of the stuff that I've been dealing with lately. So I'll just tell you guys real quick before we get to the interview. I'll tell you this quick story. So a couple of weeks ago, I came back. I left my day job and I came back to my apartment, which is where I taped the show, because I was going to have an interview with my friend Greg Burmeister. And as I walked up to my door, I noticed that my doorknob on my front door is completely gone, and part of my door has been broken. And I'm still, in the moment, I'm a little bit in denial. So I do the thing that I shouldn't do. Obviously, I'm okay, but I walk into my apartment and I quickly ascertain that my apartment has been broken into. I walk through the main corridor of my apartment. I walk down to one of my roommate's rooms. His door is open. My room is still locked, and I go to open my bedroom door, but then I think for a second, if someone's in there, I don't want to do this alone. So I run back out of my apartment. I run down the stairs and I call 911, and the police show up. The first wave of police sweep the entire apartment, and then another wave comes in and they start asking me questions, and I start talking to detectives. And luckily, none of my stuff, or my one roommate who's a comic who I'll get on the show at some point, Mike, neither of us were the victims of any burglary. It was my one roommate who I don't know too much about, but I learned a lot over the past couple weeks. He was the only one who's a victim of this, and there's been no official arrest made, so I can't say exactly who it is or what it is, but we have ideas. And I want to tell you this one funny moment that occurred while we were in the middle of the investigation. One of the cops came in, and I had a thick, heavy down coat on. I took it off, and I happened to be wearing a track jacket of my favorite soccer team, which is New York City Football Club, in MLS. And the cop looks at me and he says, "Take that NYCFC shit off before I leave your house." Because it turns out he's a huge fan of New York City FC's biggest local rival, the New York Red Bulls, who are based in New Jersey, but have been in the soccer community in America, in the New York, New Jersey area for much longer. And he starts telling me how he's been a long time season ticket holder of the Red Bulls. So I'm like, not only am I freaking out because I'm dealing with police and this burglary that's occurred, but now I'm like, oh no, I can't have this stupid sports rivalry get in the way of my investigation of getting this sorted out. So I had to really quick, because I know I follow MLS a little bit, so I had to really quickly change tunes and say, it is a shame what they did to your captain. And then I was able to kind of lighten the tone somewhat. And we had a laugh about that. And then shortly after that, one of the other investigators said, "Whose crack is this?" And then I had to think really quickly. And I said to him, "I am pretty sure there is no crack on my floor." So, dealing with the police is always nerve-wracking for me. But dealing with police that are funny also, or trying to be funny, is an entirely different level of stress. So, it could have been a lot worse, but it was it ended up being all right. And every cop I talked to, including the Red Bulls fan cop, actually, as they left, I yelled, "Have a good season," and he came back and gave me a "you smart ass" kind of look. So it could have been a lot worse, but it was fun. We had some laughs in the moment. So I'll if that officer, I would love if that officer is listening. If this story sounds familiar, tweet to me at Comic Will Carry. And let's go to my chat with my oldest, one of my oldest comedy buddies, Eric Frost. Excellent. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, no problem.
I appreciate you.
Just remember that you don't drink enough.
No, I don't. No. It took me moving to New York City to actually start drinking regularly, you know?
Yeah, that's not good. We need to...
Well, for me, New York was like, okay, I have to drink now because this is hard. The first couple of years, I was like, shit.
I feel like you and me, like, you ever seen Demolition Man?
Yes,
the
like
end
a long,
of Demolition
long time ago.
Man, it's like I'm Dennis Leary and you're like the Hispanic guy. Like I need to drink a lot less, but you a little bit more.
Right.
Now, you need to get a lot cleaner. You need to get a little dirtier. That's where we're at, right?
I think so, because I'm like so square. Like I've been like so square for like most of my life that, you know, having like a full beer was like a crazy rebellious act for me when I actually did it. And I didn't start drinking until I was like 23.
Jesus Christ. I think I was 11 or 12 when I first started like drinking liquor.
Yeah.
I think I was 13 when I first started doing drugs. I didn't like any of them. Like,
Right.
I tried them all. I just didn't like them.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I didn't. All this stuff like came much later for me. Like, what kind of stuff were you doing?
Well, the first time I smoked pot was in like 6th or 7th grade, and it was laced with PCP.
Oh shit,
So
that was
I
the first time?
Yeah, the first time. So I was scared of pot for like the next 15 years.
Because you thought it was all like that?
Well, no, everyone was like, oh, it's different. I'm like, dude, it's in my brain. It's like, you know what I mean? Like the first time you ate McDonald's, if it was stuffed with like a liver instead of a burger, you would never taste that burger correctly.
Exactly.
So I was terrified. Like I was thought like the Langoliers were going off inside my mouth and shit. Like the first time I was terrified of pot. I was like 26, I think I tried it again.
Oh, wow.
But still, it's not my thing.
No, it just makes me tired. Like, I've done... The most fun I've had on something was mushrooms. I enjoyed that.
I did mushrooms twice. Once when I was 15, and it was terrifying, but I look back on it positively. And then once when I was like 25, 26, and I was bored.
Yeah. Well, when I did it, like, again, like the most relaxed I've ever felt. Like, everything was like I remember laughing at everything like as hard as I've ever laughed. And the only other time I've been like super altered, I took like 9 hits of this I took like 9 hits off of this bong at like an open mic in somebody's apartment.
9 hits off any bong will do anyone in. Anyone.
And like big ones too, because it was like I had never like gotten like super high before, and then
You're a big guy.
it
Your lung
literally,
capacity has to be pretty
yeah,
substantial.
yeah, and I was like I was like taking like big like I was trying to like take a deep breath to blow up a balloon at a or something like that. And then when it hit me in that classic like my vision turned into a kaleidoscope, and I was walking back to the train with some stranger that I'd met at the mic, and it was the first time I've ever had to stop and go, dude, I know I don't know you, but I am wrecked. I am fucking wrecked right now.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
But no, Mike, my whole experience in coming to New York, because I feel like we moved to New York around the same time.
I think I got there. I was still in my first apartment when you got there.
Yes.
I think I'd been there for like 8 months, 9 months. I had a bed, so I'd been there for at least a year. Because the first like 10 months I had an air mattress I slept on. I think when you came over to my place the first time I had that broken futon.
Yeah, I vaguely remember the air mattress. It was at your place in Astoria. And one of the things I remember, I think it was like my first 6 months in, and I was just like hating everything and was pretty sure I was terrible at comedy. And I remember you made me chicken nuggets.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't have any money.
I remember that. Yeah, that was
and
funny.
I was like, oh shit, thank God that he's making me these chicken nuggets right now.
Oh, no, I think I gave you something to take home with you, too. Because
I think so.
My first couple weeks, though, I worked at this Hispanic restaurant, and we got free food, but I would be like, let me get a burrito and rice and beans, please. And they'd be like, you only get one or the other. I'm like, look, dude, I don't have any fucking money. I just got to New York. I'm going to take these rice and beans home. This is dinner. And that's how I got, like, it was like the first couple weeks, I just ate, like, rice and beans when I got home.
Yeah.
And then, like, the 2 days that I didn't have to work, I was like, trying to put something together.
Yeah. Yeah, I was, what I did was I went straight up, like, I did pasta for a while, like pasta and tomato sauce, and then I couldn't even afford that anymore. And then what I would do is I would do ramen, and I would buy like a brick of cheese and like cut some cheese to the ramen, trying to like just make it a little bit different.
One of my first roommates was this guy Armando, who's a firefighter in Brooklyn, and he could get like 10-pound bags of chicken for $20. So that was like how I got through. I'd give him like $20, and then you'd have to skin the chicken, cut it up yourself.
Yeah.
But 10 pounds of chicken, that's like $50-$60 anywhere else. You know what I mean? So like that
Yeah.
it was just diced up chicken and pasta. And then after for like a month or so, I saved up enough money because I didn't spend anything that I had like a month worth of bills. You know what I mean? And then it was like you could breathe a little bit.
No, yeah. Let me ask you this, and it seems like you found when you moved to New York, you had a job pretty right off the bat. It took me a long time. It took me a couple months to get somewhat steady employment. I was like bouncing from like temp job to like jobs that like would have like a couple weeks. Like I was a mover for a little while. I was a bar back for a couple months. Like I was always like just above water, but I struggled for a long time.
I got my first job my second day.
That's the way to do it.
Oh no, I
Have a nest egg and then get employed quickly.
I had no money. I had $400 to my name.
Oh, really?
I had nothing. I had it already worked out. There's a restaurant. This is mostly people in Baltimore listening, called Bill Bateman's that I worked at.
Yeah, Bill Bateman's.
And I had it worked out that the first couple weeks, I was doing open to close doubles at the restaurant Saturday and Sunday and Friday night. So that way I could look for work during the week, ride the bus that night, go do the Friday night shift, double Saturday, double Sunday, come back Monday until I found work. So it just turned out that like I sent a Facebook message of all things, and I hate the internet.
Yeah.
Of all things, and a friend of a friend sent me to this place in the South Street Seaport, and I bar backed and then served and then bartended there over the next 2 or 3 years off and on. For like probably 3 years until Hurricane Katrina.
Oh yeah, did that take it out?
Yeah, completely gone.
Damn.
They told us we were unemployed like in the middle of it.
Holy shit.
But I was there off and on in some capacity, like one day a week. I'd be there for like the winter, and then I'd come back, and it was probably the most fun I ever had at a job in my life. Just because the staff, even though we were all so different, they were all cool people.
Yeah.
In like fucking weird ways. But they were all really neat people.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, and I have limited experience in like restaurants or hospitality, but the bit that I do was like when I was the door guy at the old Laughing Devil.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, that was like the first place where I felt that like real kind of camaraderie with the other people you're working with. And granted, I watch Anthony Bourdain on TV and a few other like chef and restaurant shows, but And I compare it. I would compare it some way to the kind of the brotherhood that comedians have.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Well, no, because like if I don't know a person but they do comedy, I can at least have a conversation with them. I felt like more connection with like the people I was doing like work in the comedy club with, like the bartender and the servers, than I have at like call center jobs or office jobs, because everyone's just fucking miserable.
Well, yeah, I'm
like, hating
doing
their lives.
corporate serving or bartending now, and like they are not connected at all. They are not.
Oh, no.
It's corporate land. It's sad, but I've never felt connected with comics. I always feel like I'm on guard
Really?
with them.
Well, let me ask you this, because I'm going to put you in that category of people I'm friends with who otherwise I think wouldn't like me.
I think if we met, well, because we would never meet each other outside of comedy.
That's true.
I can get along with fucking anybody that's got a good heart. I can give a fuck what you do, who you are, who you voted for, you know what I mean? All that crap. If you're a decent
Sure.
person, I can get along with anybody. But we wouldn't bump into each other in any other scenario but comedy.
No, probably not.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't really go to the bars that much.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not really a big music guy, so we wouldn't bump into each other at like a music show or something like that. Mm-hmm. So this just would be the only way that we cross paths was comedy.
Yeah.
But if you were having a bad day and sat down in the bar, yeah, I could fucking talk to anybody, as long as you're not a dick.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's my like guiding philosophy. It's just like I'm just trying not to be a dick.
well, I feel bad like with comedy. Well, for so long I was trying to compartmentalize my party life and my comic life. Like, you probably didn't even know that I was a ruthless drunk for a long time.
Well, I remember us on the one train at 125th Street, and you walking out to the middle and then walking back. So that was the.
Oh, you mean on the tracks?
On the tracks, yeah. That was the only indication I had that maybe you drink a lot.
Oh, well.
Or in the couple times and we've gone and shot pool before and up in Harlem.
Oh, okay. And you saw I gave up liquor like 60 days ago or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Just beer. It's actually like the nice middle ground for me.
Yeah.
It's working out really nice. I'm hoping I stick with it for a very long time.
Oh, perfect.
Because everything's like I have plenty of time. I'm cool. I'm never getting all my stuff done. I've gotten more done in like 60 days than I got done like a year last year.
Awesome.
It's disturbing.
That's great, dude. Let's talk a little bit about Baltimore, because you're the first. Well, I've talked to Eli, but I put him more in like DC. You're like the first like comic from Baltimore that I've had on, and I remember. I think I'm pretty sure the first time I met you was you were headlining at Damon's, like Drink Till We're Funny at Damon's.
Gotcha.
I think my first couple of months into stand up.
Brad was still is a cool dude. Doesn't do the show anymore, but
No.
I remember just walking into that place and being like, oh, I'm always polite. I'm fucking nobody, and I know it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, hey, can I get a guest spot? And it's really nice about it. And I got done. He's like, hey, we're gonna give you a paid spot. I'm like, cool, thanks.
Yeah. No, I really owe a lot to that dude, because I wanted to do stand up. I found that open mic. I can't remember where I saw it listed, and I was like, I'm gonna go to this mic. I was like, hi, this is my first time doing comedy. Could I get up? And he was like, sure. And I inexplicably did pretty well, because I was like a character and I was doing like really monotone deadpan one-liners. And he was like, oh, you got to come back. So T-Brad's like important for me as far as like being a comedian.
God, Howard G is important for me. Oh God, I hate saying that out loud.
Now, yeah, I remember Howard G. I've heard.
I did a show at what used to be Magoobies. Before it was Magoobies, it was Tracy's, and just his sister or cousin Strawberry was on the lineup. And I somehow got into Howard G's like bringer show because he was doing it before it was cool in New York. And just that was my gateway in.
That was your gateway into stand up with Howard G?
Yeah.
Because he's sort of I don't know him super well, but he's kind of like an interesting figure in Baltimore stand up. Like he's the Kiss My Bumper on those like local car insurance commercials. You can't knock his hustle. Oh no, you can't. I can't.
In terms of work ethic, he tears everybody to pieces. I can't knock that.
Yeah. No, there's a certain respect that comes from like, even if you don't like I don't personally know his comedy very well, so I can't say I'm a fan of his comedy, but like there's a certain level of like drive that you have to respect, or at least I do. So when was that? When did you get in with?
God, that'd be like fucking 13 years ago, 12 years ago. It was like when I first started, just like jumped right into black rooms. I never even knew there were white rooms until I was doing comedy for like 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never met any of the DC comics.
Oh,
Ever,
really?
Period.
Let's see if I can trace your path to that. Are you from Baltimore?
Yeah.
What part of Baltimore did you grow up in?
Parkville, right next to Tracy's Comedy. Like literally, like we walked by it. We were drinking when we were kids, and we'd walk by that place and throw empty cans at the doors and shit.
On Hartford Road, what is now Sully's Comedy
Which is
Cellar?
now Sully's. It used to be Magooby's.
Used to be Magooby's, yeah.
Before the people that owned Sully's
Kicked them out.
the owner of Magooby's out with no notice.
Oh man.
It was kind of dirty. I'm gonna let it go, but I won't go there again. I won't work at Sully's.
Yeah. No, Magooby's is just like, again, first comedy club I went up at. Andrew.
I was the first host of their first show at Magooby's.
At the new location?
At the old location.
Oh, at the old
Their
location.
first show. I was at a bar that was now called, I don't know what they call it now. It was called The Barn. And I was just sitting there drinking. They're doing an open mic comedy thing, you know. And I was like, all right, cool. And I obviously lost the competition because I'll never win a competition. There's no way a group of people that don't know me are going to like me the best. That's never going to happen.
Right. No,
So-
yeah, because you're a little bit, because you're like, you push buttons.
Yeah,
On
fun.
purpose. That's part of your.
As I've gotten older, it's more to prove a positive point. When I was younger, then it was just to see how much I could make people hurt.
Right.
But I've matured as I got older. But now the host was Mark Unger, which is the guys who owns the place, Andrew's brother.
Yeah.
And he came up and was like, hey, you want to host this club down the street? Money. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yahtzee.
And how old were you when you did that? Like, how old were you when you started doing stand-up?
21, 22 when I started. This was like 24-ish when I started doing Magooby's.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, so you started like out of your teens.
When I got back from college.
When you got back from college. Okay, so so you're growing up in Parkville. I'm guessing it's like 80s, 90s. I don't know Baltimore. I don't really know Baltimore at that time at all.
I know you don't because you're enunciating it with a T.
Balmer.
I'm like, yeah, Baltimore. Like, you're at Baltimore. I don't know Baltimore. I'm like, yeah, that's how far out you lived from the city.
really
You could tell,
far out.
like, by
Oh yeah, no. As you go
proximity.
farther and farther away, the T becomes more
yeah,
pronounced.
the more you enunciate, the farther away from the city proper you are. Oh, I'm from Baltimore. Like, you're from fucking Bel Air. Do not pretend.
Oh, I'm even farther away. I'm like a couple counties away from Baltimore. I'm down from I'm in Calvert.
Okay, I've been to Calvert.
Yeah, it's nice. I probably a good place to retire. Schools are good, I hear, but I don't have too much else to
As
say.
I've gotten older, dude, there's not many places that I can hang out where I can't have a good time. You know what I mean? I can be in like the fucking New York epicenter of the world, or I could be out in the fucking country next to a bonfire and be enjoying myself equally for different reasons.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, yeah, absolutely. I've definitely come to appreciate it. So, what was Baltimore like when you were growing up?
What do you mean?
Like what's the vibe? Because I have it, because people in Baltimore counties, or at least when I moved up to Towson to go to college, I definitely had a feeling of like, oh, Baltimore County, that's like the suburbs, whereas the city is like, oh, there's just all the crime happening. Was it like dangerous or rough, or is it just like
No.
it is now?
I mean, there were fights. I think some kid got stabbed at a basketball court once, which I'm not saying is a great neighborhood, but like you weren't fucking terrified. It wasn't like a horrible, I'm not claiming like Baltimore badass or wants like to claim the worst part of their neighborhood.
Right.
I lived in a pretty nice place. We were pretty different people. There were, like I said, there were fights. There were kids but it wasn't like hospitalizations or anything like that. You know what I mean? Some kid got
Yeah.
his ass whooped. A lot of times it was me.
You
You know what I mean? But usually it was my friends doing it.
No, yeah, of course.
You know, but like
that's just how
But there was nothing.
kids communicate.
We were in no anybody in that neighborhood that claims that they were living
Right.
on tough times is a whiny little bitch.
Yeah, you're. There's never a point where you're having a conversation with someone where you're like, "Yeah, The Wire. That's how it is, man."
I'll be like, oh yeah, The Wire. Yeah, there are 10 blocks. There are 4 10-block areas in Baltimore that The Wire represents.
Yeah,
There's fucking Park Heights, CBS, down the hill on the east side, and Cherry Hill. Those 4 areas are still very Wire-esque.
yeah.
But pretty much everywhere else, no, that's a decent city, dude. It's
Oh yeah. No, you go out to like, and it's
dude. Even the
it's
people that live in those
surprisingly-
neighborhoods are most of them are decent people.
Yeah, it's just like I couldn't even begin to explain like the socioeconomic realities of that city. But
Well, it's funny because Calvert Street and Charles Street runs right through the center. That's where all the rich white people are at. And it's like right in the
like
center.
Roland Park.
Like south of that. But
Okay.
all those houses on like 3 blocks of either side, there's people that are loaded.
Oh yeah, like I definitely had that every time I'd go down to do. Can't remember the name of it. It was someplace near the Meyerhoff, some bar show. I can't even remember who ran it. Okay, so and what did your parents do? What was your home life like? You have a brother also, right?
Yeah, I have a little brother. He's doing real well.
Excellent.
My dad lives in PA, and he does like factory work.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom works with the nursing people. She's like a certified nurse assistant.
Uh-huh. So she's like, so certified nurse assistant, so like emergency stuff or?
Something like that.
Okay. Well, those are like solid working class jobs. I can relate to that. My mom was a teacher and my dad worked at a nuclear power plant.
That's cool.
Yeah.
They're probably better jobs.
Well, nuclear power plant, you work in like 12 hours a day.
Oh, okay, so it's like a plant as in factory, like plant.
I
mean, in terms of the structure of the work hours. You 12 on, 12 off type thing.
Yeah, and you'll do like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Yeah, okay.
Alternating, like start at 6 p.m. or start at 6 a.m.
The cops and the iron workers, a lot of steel laborers have that same schedule.
Yeah. So I didn't see him too much, and when I did, he was tired. But when he was around for a couple of weeks, it was nice.
I'm not really big on talking about my family.
I've picked up on that.
Yeah, I kept it real quick and succinct. Like,
yeah.
It's like,
well, it's everything I got. Is there a reason for that? Just out of curiosity, because I found this with some comics. Like some comics are either like way too open or they're guarded.
well, it's not like if we weren't talking on the internet, I'd
Sure.
tell you everything about everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's no big deal. But like, I'm the only one that signed on for this, making my life public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel
Sure.
like anything you want to know about me, sure. But maybe my family doesn't fucking feel like dealing with everyone knowing their business.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't sign on for this, so
That's a pretty
maybe
good.
quick answers. Cool.
No, yeah. Well, that's basically all I need to know. But like,
But, like, yeah,
it
I
seemed
mean-
like things were pretty. So I'm guessing things were good in your house.
Everything that happened negatively in my house was very beneficial to me later on.
Mm-hmm.
That
That's a perfect.
yeah,
That's a
and,
perfect
well, and
answer.
then that's everything. When I was in high school, the kids that used to kick the shit out of me, when we went to fucking our high school reunion, I bought them drinks and said thank you.
Uh huh.
Because if I didn't get the crap kicked out of me, I was a whiny little bitch when I was in middle school.
Yeah.
Like some crying, like suicidal little pussy. Like I needed that. Not everybody needs to be bullied,
Sure.
but I did. I needed to be pushed that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not going to respond. You're maybe not going to respond well to like being coddled. You're going to respond to someone kicking the shit out of you and be like, all right,
everybody has a different
grow as a person.
Exactly. Everyone has a different structure that benefits them. Some people need to be coddled and nurtured. Some people need to get the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying physically, but like some people need
Metaphorically,
that.
yeah.
Some people, metaphorically need that to be pushed. And like, I'm a triumph over adversity person.
Yeah.
You want to watch me do something, tell me I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost guaranteed. If I want to do it, I'm gonna figure out a fucking way. But tell me that
Yeah.
I'm good at it already, and I lose interest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh,
You kind of need that. You need that sort of like fuck you.
told you I could do it.
Mm-hmm. I can relate to that. I also wonder if maybe that put that sort of that itch when you first start doing comedy, and I never was really this, but that sort of like desire to like poke and to provoke maybe. I wonder, is that did that feed into your stand-up early on?
Oh, definitely. First I just wanted to make people mad. Then I wanted to see what I could get away with. Everything.
Uh-huh.
And then I just started to want to understand people. And I was in all black clubs, so that's what I was talking about was race.
Yeah. And I want to talk about this too, because you're in my friend circle, you're one of the few white guys I know who works black rooms on a regular basis. Is that just, and that sounds like it started like that's the rooms and the people you were around it when you started comedy. So those are the places you were going up. What were the places you were doing in Baltimore early on?
You mean the names of the clubs or the people? There were no clubs. The bars?
Yeah, like where were you, where were these black rooms you started at?
Bars all over the city area, and it was basically anywhere where the comics would put a room.
Uh-huh.
And that was it. Every neighborhood in Baltimore, I probably did something, and it was like a bar that'd be open for a couple months, or the show would run for like a year or two, and then you just go somewhere else.
Oh yeah. So it's just so this is what year is this?
2017.
No, I know.
I'm like I don't.
What year are we talking about these when there's no club in Baltimore?
This was when there was still just a Tracy's, and there was
Okay.
a Comedy Factory, and you tried to get into the Comedy Factory, but it was tough being like in the black rooms to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I think every white comic should be doing black rooms. I think they're to not.
Oh no, I agree.
They're better rooms. Like there's a crowd that actually, especially in New York, that actually wants to fucking see you.
Exactly. There's a crowd there that wants to see the show, and they don't tolerate like bullshit.
They make you tough. So like if you're doing a fucking black rooms, you walk into a club and there's a heckler, you're like, get the fuck out of here, you pussy.
Uh-huh.
And not only that, black people aren't required to be politically correct like white people feel obligated to.
Mm-hmm.
If your
Oh, no,
shit's
I'm
funny,
big
even if
guilty of
they
that.
don't completely agree with you philosophically, if your shit's funny, they'll laugh and be like, I don't agree with them. They don't feel obligated to like stand up for like they're representing the entire race.
Yeah.
And
Do you
white
have any idea why that is?
Because white people are taught to be scared of thinking things.
That is true.
He said fag. Well, the rest of the joke was extremely pro-gay, dummy.
Yeah.
Maybe
they just latch on to the one word and decide what you meant.
Yeah.
And how you feel about it.
He said black. He must not respect African Americans.
Mm-hmm.
No, I just think the word African American is offensive to black people.
Yeah.
Like
I always try to think about I default to black because, again, unless a black person tells me they prefer African American, then it's more of a case by case basis. Because I'm definitely that guy that's like, I really don't want to upset anybody. I just want to be friends.
No, to me, if you're born in Africa and you moved here, you're an African American.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were born here, you're a fucking American first, and we'll talk about where your grandparents fucked later. I don't like when you put the word African American, it's distancing language. You're saying you're African first, then you're American. No, motherfucker. You're one of us first, and then we'll talk about your ethnic background. It's the same way with like gay marriage. Why does the word gay got to be first?
Right.
Gay is distance. It's marriage for gays. They can do it too.
Yeah.
But it might be just the way that our English language is set up, so it's incorrect to switch them. Like in terms of the laws of English, I don't know. I'm horrible in English.
Right. Just like syntax and things of that nature.
I know noun verb. That's it. I missed that class where they learned all those other things.
No, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Just the way what's considered proper English
might have interfered with the way that we wrote these words or these phrases.
Yeah.
And it's getting in our way. But it sounds like, dude, you're African first, and you're pushing them away. No. You're American first. If you were born here. Mm-hmm. Plus, all these other cultures like Jamaicans, West Indian people just get thrown in the... No, they're not even anywhere. Mm-hmm. Why would they want to be identified like that?
Right. That's completely different.
Yeah, like,
it's a different country.
Just because we're the same color doesn't mean we have the same culture. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, no, I'm just going to say black because I'm identifying what you look like.
Yeah.
Doesn't say anything about you. I don't think so. What you wear, that stuff, those are decisions you make. I can identify you by that. That's the choice you made.
Yeah.
But just who you are. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense to me. Seems like a pretty solid foundation to begin with. Who are just out of curiosity, when you started doing stand-up, like who are the comics that were doing these rooms other than Howard G?
These comics were so cool because I was saying it was probably racist shit at the time. Like as I was finding myself and figuring out, like just pushing buttons, challenging. And it was like Larry Lancaster, Stacey Carver, Timmy Hall. All those guys were just like would just sit there after I did like a show, had like a bad joke and I obviously didn't mean it negatively, but I didn't know yet.
Right.
Like these older vets would like sit down and like talk to me about it. And then I was doing like black poetry rooms, and it would be like Lamar Hill, Talam Acey, and like all these like fucking famous poets that would be like, Eric, this is good. I like what you're doing, but you're wrong. Here's why. And because I actually wanted to learn and know how to say things correctly, because I know what I meant in my heart. I didn't know how to articulate it because I wasn't black.
Right. Like
So
you didn't have the language or to communicate what you were feeling.
Just because it was there doesn't mean I could figure out how to put it in words so somebody that I had never met or interacted with could understand it.
Yeah.
So once I talked to enough, I guess, black people about the same thing, I kind of could shape it so everyone could tell that I wasn't aiming to make them mad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like in terms of how you structure things in order to make sure that they're on edge, like it might be offensive, but they're not sure, and then you pick your language properly, let them know that it's not.
Exactly. Like, yeah, like you set up that, like, if you're doing a setup, you do a setup that gets them like, all right, where are you going with this? Because I might kill you or I might laugh. And then the art of the growth of a performer is the ability to articulate your idea in a way that's generates laughter as opposed to scowls.
Yeah, well, I feel like if your heart's in the right place, 70% of communication is body language. So like when you do things on stage, you can say shit that sounds off.
Tone of voice too.
Yeah, all inflection, pitch. That's something you can't read on a page.
Yeah, and especially like I feel like every time there's a I'm blanking on what word I want to use, but every time there's like some sort of hoopla about something a comedian said and you read it out verbatim, like Joe Rogan has had to do stuff like this, Jim Jeffries, like if you just read, like a big part of the skill of comedy, I think, is sometimes saying fucked up shit, but in a way that's gonna not make them hate you.
Well, there's some thing from one of Doug Stanhope's old bits that was like the one when he was at the Gotham, and like he was
the one where all the mirrors in the background.
Yeah, that's the one. And he was like, "Fuck the Jews" and blah 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 blah. But the bit was about almost kind of like endorsing how they never bothered anybody.
Yeah,
and that's why he never wrote any negative religious material. Mm-hmm. But if you just put that phrase at just that one clip, you're like, oh God, and then you're like, oh wait, in the joke's like, oh, you're just kind of saying that to.
Exactly. You don't see the like the wink or like the you can't hear in his voice like obviously the intent
or the absurdity or whatever he's trying to make a point. They did that in Baltimore a year ago, where they had that. And I don't know firsthand, so if I'm mistaken, but they had this black lady that was speaking about. I think if I'm not mistaken, it was the Freddie Gray stuff, and they're destroying their own neighborhoods. She was like, if you're gonna do that, don't do that. Fuck up the white people's neighborhoods. And she's like, but she was not saying go do it.
Right.
She was like basically saying, don't be stupid. If you're gonna at least do it somewhere else, dummies.
Right.
Like,
no, she's saying if you're gonna fuck shit up, don't fuck up your own shit.
Exactly. But this is long, like 5-minute, like well-written speech. This was like supposed to be like a moment of levity.
Yeah.
And then the news runs just that one line. And then people start copycatting the ideology of that one line, separate to the entire content.
Yeah, and they just have decided, and it keeps getting repeated enough where that's what the story is, which plays into its advertiser-driven television. Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure you could take snippets of what Dr. King said and find something awful if you cut it up correctly. And don't take the entire, like, this is the message. Like, you could find any great speaker in history and just find a couple sentences that you take out of context and they're assholes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, that's how like political campaigns work.
Yeah.
You find an unflattering picture of your opponent and then take something out of context. You can put that on a TV commercial, change it to black and white, and suddenly you don't want to vote for that person.
Well, I can't understand how nobody's just ever been like, when they find like these old clips, like Trevor Noah, or the new one with that Milo Yada, I don't know his fucking name.
Milo.
Yeah,
I just say Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yeah, a lot of words, a lot of letters. Gotcha. They found something that
Milo Greek name.
Yeah, Milo Greek name. Like that just proves that the Greek are intelligent people. If they can spell the names of 5 of their friends, they're geniuses. But like this Trevor Noah thing, when he first got on, they found some anti-Semitic shit, which I wouldn't even call it that. There's just no word for the Jewish people that's positive. There's no, hey, that's really Semitic. There's no positive, hey, good one.
Right. Like that Louis C.K. joke where he's like, it's the correct word and it's also the slang depending on how you say it. Again, all about delivery.
Yeah.
Delivery is so important.
But they're mad at him for this. I'm like, dude, why can't you speak? Yeah, I thought that then. if you look through my shit from like 8 years ago and it's all this like anybody that believes in God's an idiot, 'cause that's where I was in that point in my life. But I learned past that. I don't think that way anymore.
No, yeah. No,
So like I'd be like, yeah, guys, I thought that then, but I learned shit. I didn't flip flop. I got educated. And
exactly.
the opinion that I have today, I hope is different 10 years from now. I hope I learned more, and my opinion was different. So fuck you for bringing up my past. That's how I got here. How has no one said this ever?
It is something that is, it's an idea that should be common sense, but for some reason it isn't. Like anything written, people seem to think like if they dig through your Twitter feed, that's who you are and that's how you're always going to be. Whereas if you're an intelligent person, you're trying to like grow and learn shit. You're not interested in like just cease in just like plateauing. Of course, you're not going to feel the same way about things. Like the same way, like a TV show you loved when you were 14, you might watch again and be like, I don't think I like this anymore.
Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
relate to
1
it.
held up. Number 2, horrible movie. Secret of the Ooze was bullshit. But the first one was like, even you watch it today, you're like, that's a pretty good fucking movie. That's pretty sweet.
No, yeah. So, yeah, still.
Like some of the
so
stuff
good.
I thought 10, 15 years ago still holds up. Glad I think that shit. Some of it, I'm glad I said it out loud so someone was kind enough to correct me.
Yeah.
Because if I never say that stupid shit, no one's ever going to know I think it. And I'm going to keep on thinking it.
Exactly.
And then we're going to elect somebody for president we didn't want.
Correct. That's absolutely.
That's because you didn't let these people fucking express their fears, even if they couldn't articulate themselves like fucking academic geniuses. Mm-hmm. You didn't let these people speak, and they're like, well, fuck it.
No, yeah, I think, and I'm so glad you bring that up. Like, I really want to do this. I want to do a thing. I don't know like how or what the context of it would be. Like I have this idea. I flash forward to where I'm able to travel, where I can where I travel more, and I'm doing stand up. Like
I traveled all the way to Woodside for this podcast. All the way up the 7 train.
Well, I appreciate
you guys should look at this apartment. This is fucking decadent. You should be
Caitlin
jealous that Will has a girlfriend, because if not, this would be a pussy pad. Just lining up a platoon of poon. Oh my God, he could get a website and just make a living off the web traffic.
Yeah, I just have that sort of like I would be the first like online sex star to just go for like the bumbling sweetheart kind of thing.
Yeah.
I could be I could be like the first like feminist porn star and just be like, girl, I respect you. What are your boundaries?
What are your boundaries?
That's actually in one of the stories I tell in my storytelling show. That's one of the punchlines because it's something I actually said once when I was hooking up with a girl. But anyway,
Women's Day. Oh, I love this Women's Day today. So much fun.
Yes, when we were recording this, it's International Women's Day.
Yeah, International Women's Day, and I don't understand why people care.
I'm surprised there haven't been more. I haven't seen more Deadpool references on social media, because
I'm lost.
Well, Deadpool, the superhero movie.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, but why would there be references of International Women's Day?
There's a scene in that movie. There's this like montage of them like having sex, and they're like, "Happy Easter, Merry Christmas," and they do a scene with International Women's Day where she pegs him.
Oh,
and
okay. I only saw the movie like once. It was funny.
It was very funny. So she's got like a strap on. She puts a strap on, and she's like, "Happy International Women's Day," and he's like, "Oh, no, don't like that, don't like that." But I want to get back to what I remember my thought from earlier. The idea of like, and I think comics more so than regular people are more inclined to say the stupid the thought that they might consider stupid later. Because that's kind of what our job, or on a good day, what I think you're supposed to do. I also think, do you ever find it interesting that I think not only the people who get most offended by things that comedians say about
people asking for the most tolerance?
People asking for the most tolerance. I also think probably not across the category, but probably don't have a ton of friends in that ethnic group. And also, isn't it funny that people online, and I don't like using the phrase like social justice warrior, but isn't it funny how people who get super, super offended by jokes have never said or done anything that they regret.
Yeah,
They don't have any moments like this.
Like, how boring is your fucking life where you've never said shit that you did that you apologize for?
Yeah. And having to apologize for
I will never
saying something, and outside of jokes, but saying something ignorant and then going, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry, man. That's a good point." I don't think there's any shame in that.
That makes you an honest person. I will never fucking apologize for anything I've said. I'll apologize for how it made you feel. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't have known how you were going to feel if I didn't say it. So we would have learned absolutely fucking nothing about each other if I didn't fucking say what was on my mind.
Uh-huh. And that's a big, and
like, how do you not, like, you just want to go through life, nobody talking to anyone and knowing anything about you? You know nothing personal? Oh, I didn't know your mom had cancer. I won't make those jokes anymore because I care about you as an individual. Oh, good, now we're fucking friends.
Uh-huh. And to be fair, my mom has had cancer and my grandpa has had cancer.
So I can say that
so
shit.
we can talk about that. We can talk about that shit all day.
I pull that card because I'm like, oh, mine does too. Suck.
Right. Well, and when I probably get cancer, we can make jokes about it then.
Oh, dude. Totally. I know that a lot of the horrible shit that I talk about has happened to me as a kid, and I'm like, I can talk about it firsthand.
Exactly.
Good. Like, oh, you didn't have that. You don't know. Maybe not to the worst degree, but I have dabbled.
Uh-huh.
I've had my share.
So
I'm sending them thank you cards too. Thank you so much for making me me, because I doubt without those things that I would have the perspective that I have.
You are a fucking enlightened dude, Eric.
I don't think so. I'm just some white trash motherfucker that's good with vocabulary.
Yeah, but you make it work. So you're doing black rooms in Baltimore in like the mid 2000s.
God, I can't keep track of the dates. I don't remember much before I was 16.
Okay.
But I mean, I can ballpark. I guess I started when I was 21, which would make me. So yeah, we'll say 2005ish.
Okay.
4-ish. 4 or 5-ish was probably when I was doing the most black rooms and traveling and doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And like, what stand up were you like consuming a bunch of stand up? I know I'm trying to.
Never. I very rarely do even watch. I don't know half the comics. Like, every once in a while, I'll find somebody that I really find inspiring, but I don't just watch comedy.
Oh yeah, even back then.
Yeah, ever. When I was doing comedy for like 6 months
before you started watching it.
Before I knew who Richard Pryor was. And I'm sitting in this room in like a Howard G. some Holiday Inn room, and I think it was Larry said something about Richard Pryor, and I was like, what? And then like they all got in like this circle, all the comics. And just started fucking. They call it roast battle now, because the white people have taken that too.
Yeah.
In the black rooms, it's just called before and after every show ever. But roast battle now, we've branded it.
Yeah.
It's ours, just like twerking. And they were fucking just as soon as they didn't know Richard Pryor, they just like got around in a circle and just started like ripping me to shreds. And I'm having fun. I like them people.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to be able to take it.
Yeah. No, there's no more fun time than when you are getting your balls busted by someone that you can bust their chops back, and
I don't feel like there's
and
any
you both
of that
know
in
that
New
you
York
can
comedy.
like each other.
I don't feel like there's any. That's what makes me off put in a lot of like the New York rooms. Like, I don't feel like I can be somebody playfully malicious. I think everyone's too sensitive.
It's definitely I feel like that's
if I'm me, then people won't like me. And in real life, I don't give a fuck, because either you like me or I'll just go around people that do.
Mm-hmm.
But in comedy, I want something from you. I want you to put me on your show, in your room, introduce me to you. So I feel like and I just feel dirty feeling that way. I just don't like that feeling of feeling like I'm holding myself back to make people like me.
Sure.
And I felt ugly.
No, it makes perfect sense. It's maybe even the same feeling like when you're doing a gig and you're like, oh, I can't really do what I really want to do. I've got to. I did
that in white rooms too, because I'm scared I'm going to hurt people. Comedy in New York has gotten, on the Facebook, has gotten so one-sided liberal. I feel like I need to write some jokes that at least challenge those ideas, because no one is.
No, on Facebook especially, I always know how these long conversations get drawn out. I'm like, doesn't anybody here work or have anything else to?
Well, I just don't get like.
Why can't we just talk to each other too?
Yeah, like why can't you? I walk into a conversation hoping that even if I am not proven wrong, that I learned something. Even if we don't agree, like I just want to at least figure out, okay, where's this person's head at? Oh, I can understand that a little bit. I don't agree with it, but I can understand it. Mm-hmm. But the liberal people have kind of overplayed their hand, where like they just started screaming so loud about everything that no one wants to talk, and that's how we got this asshole.
No, I kind of feel that way too.
And I want to be like, look, dude, how are you angry at me? I'm just bringing something up. I can't even say the word transgender without being an asshole. This guy's got questions.
Yeah,
That's got questions. That's all. I'm not mad. I'm just curious.
Exactly. And then
Half the people on this podcast that listen, all 4 of them, fucking 2 of them are just, he said that word. And they have words now in college. They're called trigger words for people that aren't emotionally capable of having a conversation. They're triggered and they tuned out, and I apologize for that.
For how it made them feel.
They don't even know how it made them feel. They just know they can't understand it, and understanding translates to fear, and they don't want to feel that, so there it goes.
Yeah.
Direct.
It is all a different, it is like a different expression of fear, isn't it? Like dude,
that Milo Yuka kid.
Yeah, Milo Greek name.
Yeah, Milo Greek name. He had this thing. The thing they brought up on him before. I
know the thing they brought him up on. I've never watched.
I saw him on Bill Maher, and I was like, okay, half the shit he's saying is batshit crazy, but half of it's at least philosophically up for conversation. Cool, listening. But they brought up some shit he said from like 2 years ago about like pedophilia, or a year ago, whatever it is. And again,
I think it was on a
philosophically,
podcast.
don't agree with it. But why are you angrier at this kid for talking about fucking kids than you are at the people fucking kids? You're so mad that they brought up how uncomfortable. Guess what? While we're talking on this podcast, someone in the world's fucking a kid right now. And I'm disgusted by it. There's nothing I can do about it. But I'm not going to be angry at us for talking about it than I am the person doing it. It's irrational.
I agree. Jim Jeffries brought up a very similar thing in his most recent Netflix special, where he had this bit about Cosby, and he started getting all this bad press in Australia, and where they like wrote out it again, the same thing, wrote it out, and was like, and then people started protesting his shows for doing a bit about Bill Cosby instead of getting mad at Bill Cosby, who was actually raping.
We gave up. We've given up on actually trying to fix shit, and we just don't want to hear about it.
I think it's the same thing. I think it's similar to you if you are at work and you look at. Let me think. See.
I work in such a corporate job now where I have to turn my entire personality off the minute I walk in the door. That I get it. I've learned so much just by being around that corporate mentality.
Yeah.
Of not stepping on anyone's toes for any. Like I've learned so much on how to word things and how to preload a conversation and kind of lead people. It's actually been very eye-opening for me, because I've always been able to say whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. Fuck you for not listening. And now I've learned to tread lightly in some instances.
Oh yeah, same here. And when I've got a corporate job, I kind of like put on the role of like a normal person who doesn't have like the opinion.
I don't even have opinions. I just have questions.
Yeah.
If you can answer them correctly, where I have no more questions, cool, thanks. Just change my opinion. I'm not fucking mad at you at all for anything.
Right.
How do you get mad about shit like that? It doesn't affect you directly.
No.
And these people get outraged. Dude, you're speaking up for all the black people? You're white.
Yeah.
All of them? You know how they all feel? All of them? Not your 3 friends that you count every fucking day so you feel like you're not racist. Like, you just know how all people feel and you speak up.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty big presumption that you know how you can speak for everyone.
What gives you the right to pretend like you can be offended for somebody else? You get to adopt.
An interesting idea.
You get to adopt their hardship so you don't feel bad about your coasting through life, so you can feel better. Fuck you.
Yeah, and it's this tone with like debate online that a lot of times, even if I agree with the person, this is something I think a lot of people on the left kind of miss also, is that I feel some people can come off as kind of condescending or rude, even if they're making a pretty good point. And the second...
Yeah, Bill Maher.
Yeah, and the second you're condescending or talking down to someone, I doubt they're going to be receptive to your idea.
Listening.
No, yeah.
Like, I got it. You think all these Trump supporters are all horrible racists, blah, blah, which is irrational and stupid, but fine. It makes you feel better about yourself. It makes you feel superior. Now, if the goal is to win the next election, which I assume is the idea,
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to appeal to that 51% of the population? These dumb rednecks that you think don't know what they're doing?
Right.
And by the way, realize that your iPhone can't skin a deer,
No, it can't.
and how you don't like all these people.
Hey, Mike.
You don't like all these people. You kind of need them. Because if it was National Rednecks Day instead of National Women's Day, and all these hillbillies decided to take a day off, the cans of corn stopped coming, and the chicken stopped showing up in the grocery store. And you can be progressive as you want if you starve to death. I'm just saying you need those people. Everyone has their pros and their cons.
No, that's why I would love to do like a podcast series or an interview series where I sit down and I have like a conversation with someone who voted for Trump, and it's not in like a news or a panel situation. Maybe we're just eating at like at a restaurant they like, and we can talk about barbecue music. I can learn what their life's like, maybe get inside their perspective a little bit, think about what they heard or saw.
Yeah, what triggered that to them?
That made voting for him appealing. And then again, if it's in that, my theory is if you are approaching it in that context,
They'll open up and be more honest too, because they're not feeling threatened.
yeah,
But if you honestly believe that everybody that voted for Trump is a dumb, racist piece of shit and it's a lost cause, then 49.5%, yeah, I'm counting the popular vote, 49.5% of the country voted for this guy. And if you know anything, if they're all stupid, stupid people breed faster.
it's true.
So now you're saying that these people are going to come of age quicker than your smart, enlightened, progressive folk, and you're going to lose every election coming thereafter if you're going to alienate these people. I don't think they're all idiots. I think that some of them were scared or desperate and made snap decisions because they weren't allowed to talk to other people because they were too scared to. And we got stuck with somebody who's going to hurt us for the next couple years.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think they're all evil people. Like they all maliciously wanted to hurt.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Like,
That's just something you say to make yourself feel better instantly. Oh, I'm better.
or superior.
Yeah. That's it. That doesn't make any... You don't actually want to help the problem. You just want to know that you're not part of it.
Exactly. You want to distance yourself from it.
This is something I thought up. Both political parties, if you ask, and I have friends on both sides that are good, honest people, even though I don't agree with some of them, all of them on everything. But both people of both parties will admit that their party is flawed, but say that the other party is way more flawed. So no matter who you are, you believe that your house is on fire, but you refuse to put water on your house because the fire across the street is bigger. That is the ideology of these people that are believing in these political cults.
Yeah.
Like both of them, both of them know that they're cults, they're no angels. But instead of trying to fix your own house, you're just going to scream about how shitty the house is across the street. And I can't understand that. I can't, dude, let's start fixing our shit first. And then once we have our perfect house, then be like, hey, dude, look how shitty that house is. We should let that one burn to the ground. We should let Darwin take over and kick that one out.
Right. Maybe the Whig Party comes back.
The Wick. I was thinking John Wick. I had no idea what you were talking about. I was like, oh.
Oh, now that would be an interesting.
The John Wick Party.
The John Wick Party. It's just a bunch of dudes with like wet long hair and suits.
They're all from PETA and all their dogs are dead. They're all, yeah.
No, yeah, I could see that.
Sarah McLachlan's got the soundtrack.
Oh, she could have a box set.
She's the one that has that she does the PETA commercial. Right?
Yeah,
I
she's
wasn't sure if I got that right.
Yeah, that's Sarah McLachlan.
Like where the dogs are all like crying. Like wow, you videotaping all these dogs in cages. You're not letting them out until you get that shot, huh? One more tear. Oh, wait, we got it. Sad enough. Oh, good. Now we can save you.
On a similar note, this might be fucked up. You remember a couple years ago that catcalling video came out?
Yeah.
Where she was like, that they followed that woman around for 10 hours.
Yeah, with the girl with the mediocre ass that they pretended was magnificent. Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. The first thing I thought of, because I think about like video production and like, who did they hire her? Is she just part of the crew? She walked for 10 hours straight. I hope she got a break. Like, I hope they like let her sit down and like have a glass of water.
They probably did it over the course of a couple weeks, or either that, or she was some sort of CrossFit junkie that just wanted to burn a bunch of calories.
Well, I guess you
Her entire team of CrossFit people, like, you can do it one more hour. Just walk one more hour.
I guess the underlying theme of that video is that harassment is great motivation for losing weight.
That's funny.
for exercise.
No, I was thinking of that catcalling video the other week, and yeah, people need to realize that equality is uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Like, people just can't seem to grasp the idea that if you're 100% comfortable in any situation, someone else isn't. So if you genuinely want equality, you have to be willing to give up a certain level of discomfort at all times. If you're an attractive woman and you're wearing clothes that draw attention to yourself, you're going to get the hot guys that you find attractive that say hello. But Newton's Law, baby, every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. You're going to get some asshole. And we want to root out all the creepy ones, and it's not okay that it's being done.
Right.
I'm not condoning it.
Oh, yeah, no, of course not.
But understanding that it is part of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
If I see a beautiful woman, and I'm a decent looking dude, I'm not a fucking stunner, but if I see a pair of tits hanging out, my instincts are to glance, and I look.
No, same.
And then I look away, which makes me a little uncomfortable because I want to stare at them because they're magnificent.
Mm-hmm.
But my human nature is like, oh, look, tits, and then I go, okay, well, I don't want to disrespect this woman, and I look away. So I'm a little uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
She just saw me stare at her tits. She's a little uncomfortable. That's equality.
Right.
We both made an effort. Like, okay, I see them, but I'm going to respect that you. And it might not be for me.
Yeah.
Just because they're out there, but they're still there, and I was still wired this way.
Yeah. No, that's called being heterosexual, I think.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, nice, go about my day.
And if you want it to be like where just like women just get to pick the men they want whenever then you don't want equality, you want supremacy.
Yeah. And that's different from, and of course, obviously, ideally, let me think of how I'm trying to say this.
Like,
I mean, of course, like I understand the need to not want to feel unsafe everywhere you go.
Unsafe I 100% agree with. Like, you should not feel unsafe, but uncomfortable and unsafe are two different tiers on that. Like, uncomfortable, like this guy's annoying, and this guy legitimately like follow me home are two different feelings.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, we can't get rid of everything. Like, there's just like, I'm trying to think like.
Yeah, I think that there's a certain amount of, and
why we want that. This is what it is. One.
Okay.
We want this perfect, and I would love for this if this existed. This perfect utopian society where everybody simultaneously feels respected and valued about everything.
Yeah.
But until we get there, we still have to accept the world as it is today.
Mm-hmm.
There are creeps, there are assholes, there are scumbags. They are not the majority of our population, but they walk among us.
Uh-huh.
So even though you might not like to admit it, we have to prepare for those people until we root them out.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for someone to figure out that plan because I'm all on board. I'll march right next to them. And I think marching is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. I think another part of it is it's a generational thing. And this comes up a lot too, obviously, if you, and my dad did this too, so I don't think it's a generational thing entirely. It might require that you talk to your kid and your child or your son, and you have like one of those uncomfortable conversations that you got to have because it's part of growth, where you say, where you can say, son, tits are great, but following a woman and screaming and telling her about her tits, not so great.
No, it's still it, but it's hard.
It's nuanced.
It's sad.
It's nuanced,
but those people that are doing that catcalling, those are the sad people.
Mm-hmm.
But they've never catcalled a beautiful woman and actually gotten her number or took her home.
Yeah.
And someone has to be there to stack our pants. And these sad people that hide and fold our pants and do all the jobs that no one wants to do, they never get to go home with the girls they jerk off to. So they never get that. They never get to live. So this is like almost their not condoning it, but I get it. I would just walk up to a beautiful woman and be like, hi, my name's Eric. And if she's like, go fuck yourself, I'm like, cool, it's another day. No, I'm back to 1,000. Thanks.
Yeah, that's just winning and losing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You know.
Well, realistically, my best chance is not to talk. Like once I start talking, not a chance.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of the same way too. Someone has to ignore a lot of their natural instincts to realize that I'm not an insane person.
Just read my body language. I got a good heart, but you hear the shit that comes out of my mouth. Some of my friends are like, Eric, you would do so much better in the dating scene if you would just shut your mouth. Just say hi, talk about sports, and then ask her questions about her life, and then shut up. But I can't do it.
Yeah, I know. Is rewiring that part of the brain takes time.
Well, that's the part of my life that I like, is talking to people about stuff and pushing the boundaries. And said, if anybody disagrees with anything I had to say, I mean, tell me why. I'm not in stone on this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is just me.
No, exactly.
Having a conversation. You're wrong because of this. Cool. Now tell me with a cool head, while you're level-headed. Count to 10, whatever you got to do, and then write it out in a coherent thought, and I'll read it. I'll think it through, and might agree, might disagree, but I'll at least know more about what you think.
Yeah.
I'll get that anger.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty. It seems like it makes so much sense, and yet we can't do it yet. The world, I mean.
Well, if you're in America, you're already winning. You've already won. Like you're already the white privilege of the world. Like if this was the Hunger Games, America's the capital.
Yeah.
And we're in New York. We're in President Snow's house.
Yeah, I think that's it.
I think Snow's.
See,
right,
this
right?
is how old I am. I go like Night
Donald
of the Living
Sutherland.
Dead. No, I think of like zombie movies and like being in the mall, whereas everyone else is just out in the woods with all the zombies.
Okay, I never liked zombie movies. Neil deGrasse Tyson destroyed it for me when he explained like scientifically how zombies couldn't exist because their flesh couldn't blah 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 blah. I'm like, and you fucking killed that genre for me. Thanks.
Okay. That's good. That's good to know.
Don't read it, because if you hear
I won't.
If you hear him watch it, you hear him talk, you'll be like, and zombie movies are dead to me.
Okay, I'll make sure not to read that. Let's just talk real quickly. I'm very curious. What's your transition to New York? I know we talked a little bit about it before. I'm curious what your experience with comedy in New York because we run in different circles. I feel like I'm running in more of like the, for lack of a better term, I'm running in like the more like alt like kumbaya kind of circles. Whereas I'm curious like what rooms are you in? What comics do I not know that are great that I need to know about?
Oh God, I mean,
And also, it's great to hear you say Larry Lancaster. I remember that guy.
dude, he's I think my big brother.
What's he doing?
Hustling. He's doing a lot of shit with BET, and I went and saw him at the Apollo a couple months ago. That was really cool.
Oh, what do you do at the Apollo? Like amateur night or?
Bob Sunders, like the Def Jam room.
Okay.
It was just a great show, great set. It was him and Leah something. She's really funny too. I just can't remember her last name. I can remember half her set. I can't remember her last name. Yeah, really good set. Dude, that's the kid I'm talking about. That guy fucking talked me through a lot of dumb shit that I was thinking. I was like, hey, here's why this doesn't make sense as an older black man that dealt with these struggles that you weren't there for. I'm like, oh, cool. And I wasn't like, oh, this motherfucker. I was like, no, please, teach me.
Yeah.
The stuff that resonates with me individually, cool. The stuff that doesn't, thanks. Nice sideburns, Larry.
Awesome.
No, I didn't really run in any circles in New York the past couple
Yeah.
years.
Because I remember one around the time that I was living off of chicken nuggets you made me. I can't remember. Was it? I don't think it was the Rapture Lounge. That was a different place in Astoria. It was some room I think Ben Rosenfeld was running. And,
the Rapture Lounge.
Oh, that was the Rapture
That
Lounge.
was when Ben Rosenfeld was running it, or one of the many rooms.
Yeah, because I
New
remember
York's
he
Tom
ran
Myers,
one. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He won't get that reference. I said one of the many rooms that New York's Tom Myers runs.
I miss Tom.
He's
He's
one of my,
a good guy.
along with Ben, one of my favorite people. Awesome heart, great work ethic.
Oh yeah,
And one day Ben's gonna click and have a killer set, and he's gonna shove it in everyone's fucking faces.
yeah. No, I've spent some time with Ben. I like him. His book was he published a book that was pretty cool.
Yeah, how many of you fucking comics that are talking shit about comics published a book? None of you worthless tards.
Yeah.
There was some comic once that said something. We were in a room, and the comics actually, if he ever listens to this, is actually really funny and talented dude. But he was like, yeah, he's like, yeah, well, that's why I work more than you. I'm like, cool, but by that logic, dude, Tom Myers is the best comic in the country. Like the guy works everywhere.
Dude works.
If one day Tom could just quit doing comedy and be my manager.
I know, right? I
thought
about that too.
I pray for that. Like, I don't want to wish this dude like ill. I hope that his set clicks one day and he's just a murderer. But if it doesn't work out, Tom, you always have a place at my side. You can please just manage me, Tom. Please, Tom.
I gotta send this. I'll have to send this to him so he knows.
Manage me, Tom. Please.
So we know that we talked about this.
Please help me. I'm the worst networker on the planet.
Dude, I can hand it. I can barely handle it. Like I'm good. I can ask people to do my show, my monthly show, and I can ask people to do, but I'm really bad at like trying to get on things or like it's.
I just started sending some of these comics like, hey, I've known you for 6 years, and I realized that I've never formally asked for a show. I guess that's how you do it. Thanks.
Yeah,
and it's like someone like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. You're on my list. I'm like, yeah, obviously,
right. Yeah, and I'm still trying to get better at like, oh, how do I get into this club? How do I get into that that club?
I really don't care about the clubs.
No,
to be honest, I just don't. Like, it'd be great to get those spots, but I feel like that comes when you do all your own work. You know what I mean? Like that.
I think so. I think at this point,
I just want stage time. I want to be able to say what I want to say, and mostly I want to get shit on the internet so I can build what I want. 'Cause I want to say my shit, and I don't want to feel. When I first got here, I felt like I had to cater to what they were looking for. So I went out and got some nice job to where I don't care. Like, I want to say what I want to say, and if you don't want that, pick somebody else. I'm a pretty decent. I try to be a decent dude.
Yeah.
And I try not to be like bougie or annoying or like I mean anything. And if you can't look past some of the shit that I'm saying, cool. There are tons of other talented comics that'll take that spot for me.
Yeah. And also I think because I'm trying to do the same thing too. That's where I feel like not that I know anything about the industry. If you generate your own noise, have your own people, that's when people start calling, start swimming around, so to speak.
The problem is I'm in no rush. I'm really enjoying life. Like, I want things to go, but they're gonna go when they're ready to go. If I'd have made it 7-8 years ago, I was a drunken mess. I was a lunatic.
Yeah.
There's no way that I would have not fallen out instantly. I did not have my head on my shoulders. I would have been a train wreck. I know that. Like, I would have been.
Oh no, yeah.
You give me like, this is the new thing and he's touring and blah, blah, blah. And I'd have been, oh my God. I'd been like an STD collection with God.
Just like a collection of like razor blades and needles.
Oh, I tried all the drugs earlier, so it wouldn't have been drugs. It just would have been alcohol. But I would have been, oh God. Just when I went on tour with all these guys for all these like bar rooms and clubs all over the country and shit, just some of the shit, I'd be like fucking drinking till 3 a.m. on rooftops after the show was over, just because I was bored.
Yeah.
How many pools I got kicked out of for swimming in the middle of the night, and oh God. And thank God all that shit happened before they had all the Twitter and the Snapchat where they could document all this shit. Now you're just hearing it third person.
Yeah.
That was no proof that I did anything irresponsible, or very little.
Yeah, it all becomes part of your lore, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty Zen mentality to approach it. I think it keeps you from like tearing your hair out at night thinking.
Well, I had a friend make me read The Alchemist.
I love that book.
That's what it was. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Cool, but I mean, if I ended up bartending for the rest of my life, that's what it is. I can't complain about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't.
Again, there are a lot of things that would suck more.
Yeah, exactly. We're deciding. I'm going to decide when I leave this swank pad. Ladies, be jealous. When I leave this swank pad, I'm going to decide what type of food I want to eat before I go to my local bar and watch basketball. Not if I want to eat, where I want to eat. I'm going to decide what type of cuisine. Am I in the mood for Thai, Mexican, Ecuadorian, Chinese, whatever. How do I have any right to bitch?
Yeah, dude.
Like, everyone deserves to make their lives a little better, and I always want everybody to push to that, but don't not appreciate where you're at just because. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like to use the word deserve. No one deserves anything. Just because you don't have everything that you've earned.
Yeah. And the journey is just as much a part as the destination.
I had a comic when I first started doing comedy. Are we about to wrap up? I can tell by your body language we're about done.
Oh, just about, but finish your thought.
I was like, oh, his hands on the chair. He's ready to get up. I have to pee too. I had a comic when I first started that was like, Eric, he said, I don't like the pat. He said, you're funny, blah, 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 compliments. And he was like, what you have to decide is you're going to get everywhere that you want to go. You have to decide, do you want to get there as soon as possible and be there alone? Or do you want it to take a lot longer and have people to share it with? And I want my friends, my family, but I'm not willing to sacrifice all that. Even if it means I can't have everything that I want. I don't want to be up at the top on the mountaintop by myself. That sounds miserable.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that everyone that's doing well is that way.
Well, you know.
I'm not saying, but I'm saying a lot of people
Sure.
sacrifice so much to get there so fast because they want to be the next success overnight. And I'm like, no, I can wait another 10 years.
Yeah.
Once I get gray hair in here, dude, with this baby face, I'm going to be fucking crushing it like your living room.
Yeah.
Just smashing. Just
Hell yeah, dude. Dude, this was really good. I'm glad that you came over. This was a great chat.
oh, this is fun. That's kind of
Yeah, we'll have to do this again to sometime. We should, dude. If you ever go on the road again, I want to go on the road with you. That would be fun.
I'm doing that show. I already asked to have one person on that I got in an argument with on the show, on the Facebook. Something about being offensive. Some comic shouldn't talk about shit, and then me and Sonny Fuller like just fucking lashed on this kid. And he was actually pretty good at point at retorting, and then it got petty. But I was like, hey, I'm going to be on the show at Aldebar. You want to be on it? Because you're really funny, dude. I'm not a spiteful dude. Like, this is cool. I'm not mad at you. Stood up for yourself. And Sonny's way more malicious than I am.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, he's vicious.
That guy is one of the funniest cats.
Oh dude,
I love that
he came
dude.
up, he'd skull fuck half these roast battlers in New York.
Oh my
and he wouldn't
God,
even have to know him. He's like, Walker, what's your name? It doesn't fucking matter. just to tear half. I mean, some of them are really good. I've seen some of the clips.
Yeah.
But
no, I went to one last night where Eli Sayers won. He beat the Comedy Stores champion. So it was a fun show.
You know what I don't see in all those roast battles?
Oh.
Comics from black rooms.
Because it's before and after the show.
You never see any of these comics that just have been hanging out in black rooms for 20 years. You never see like John Laster, because it's going to be a massacre. You never see John Moses. You pick a white guy too. It's from the black rooms because he would kill these people.
No, this is something that Roast Battle 3 needs to consider. I don't know if I have any pull with Comedy Central if anyone listens to this, but
dude, put some of these like old school cats like Sink and Drew Frazier and all these guys that have been like roasting people off camera for like 25 years and see how that resonates. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm horrible at it. I can't write that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I know I can't. I had somebody ask me to roast with battle. I'm like, I'm just going to lose, dude. I can't be as mean as I want to be because I like you. Right. And I just don't have that, like, it's not my style.
Yeah. To me, I'm hopefully going to do one. I look at it as jokes where I don't have to worry about upsetting anyone because everyone knows why we're there.
I would want to do it. The only way I would want to do it is if I could do it without telling any jokes.
Like, just like deconstructing someone like the way Patrice O'Neill.
No. I had this in my head the other day while I was thinking, and I was like, I would want to do it if like I could just. My whole set was just I read the opponent's Facebook posts, and then all the people in the crowd had like paper that they just take off letters, and that would be the joke. So no one would ever know what I was saying about them directly. They would just know by the crowd's laughter how mean it was. And then we would collect all the paper after we were done and throw them out, so the comic would never know what they won or lost to.
Right.
They'd be like, "You just got beat. How? I don't know." he read my Facebook posts and then told them to pick off letters off a page, and then they started laughing, and then he moved on to the next round. I have no clue what he said. He won't tell me.
Oh yeah, that's the worst because you never know.
Fun. That'd be fun for me. If you lose, you'd be like, I didn't even tell a joke. So you'd have there's no risk.
Yeah.
You can't lose. But dude, I didn't write down. I didn't tell a joke. I read Facebook posts and lost. Yeah, of course I lost.
Yeah.
But if you win, you're like, motherfucker, I beat you without telling a fucking joke.
Right. And I fucked with your head.
I fucked with your psyche.
That's the ultimate way to win. Dude, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me, Honky.
Okay, folks, that's our show. Thank you for listening. As always, you can go to my website, willcareyisfunny.com, for links to my upcoming stand-up dates. If you guys want to support the show, you can send me a donation through the link in the description, the paypal.me link, or you can write a review on iTunes, or just tell a friend about the show if you think they might like it. I want to give a quick shout out to one of my old friends, one of my old theater buddies from high school, Brittany Graham, who wrote a very nice post about enjoying the Caitlin Bailey episode I did. So thank you very much, Brittany. That really made my day. And hopefully, if you're listening to this, hopefully I run into you again someday. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at @ComicWillCarey. And I will see you guys next week between Awesome and Disaster.